Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TLT Talks Live. I am here on the Williamsburg waterfront. Look at it. Oh, it's gorgeous. I can't get enough of it. It is unbelievable. We have an incredibly special guest for you. We've had Leonard Steinberg. We've had Mike Savage. We've had some great all-star agents from all over the country. But today is probably my favorite, the most special guest I think I'm ever going to have on the show. Ever. I don't know how we're going to top this. Hey, Luciani, how's it going? Jackie, Scott, and Mark. What's going on, guys? Debbie, how's everybody doing? So if this special guest would go ahead and request to join me, I would love to bring her on. Here, gentlemen. Nance, how you doing, girl? Halpern. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the wonderful, the amazing Mrs. Julie Litvak. Good morning, babe.
Good morning, Mr. Litvak.
So, Julie Litvak is an ER physician assistant for 12 years. She's gonna kill me for the way I say this. I may not be saying it correctly, but alternative medicine herbalist. I will let her do her own introductions for about 10 years now. She is a mother. She is a leader in S Factor. She is an incredible wife. She's an incredible partner. I could go on and on for a very long time, but I'd like to leave some for her. So Julie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to my viewers, remind your own viewers about what who you are, what's your background, etc.
Hi everybody. You hear me okay?
You sound wonderful.
Hi to everybody. I see a lot of people saying hi. So correct. So about, I started as a PA 12 years ago in the ER. Felt like I wanted to, why do we go into medicine? To help people. And at some point, through understanding and through my own personal health experiences, I realized that we were putting a lot of Band-Aids on people, just fixing the leaky holes and not actually correcting the underlying problems. We weren't getting people well. We were just getting them through, often to go back home and continue kind of having the same issues pop up in different ways. And it happened for my own self as well. So I really started to kind of dive deep into the body, into understanding the body, understanding wellness instead of just disease. And that led me down a very crazy path. And nutrition
led us down a very crazy path.
For sure. And I kind of landed in this herbalist world where I found that natural medicine, plants, diet, all these other things really are getting people to stay healthy, to maintain health. And I just want to help as many people as I can to understand what I understand, because I think that could be a big changer.
Well, let me tell you, I brought you on our show today, not because you're my wife, but because of how amazing I think you are, your knowledge. You spent a decade plus, just taking all this into your own hands and learning it. And I witnessed how all through COVID, you spent countless hours studying and preparing and doing homework, and how you help all of our friends and all of your friends. And I think you're a really special person, and I think you can create a lot of value for people out there. And that's the real reason that I brought you on the show. Plus, I don't want to get in trouble. So two birds, one stone. Cool. So look, and I just, guys, I can attest to this. Like, this woman, she heals herself through strep throat without antibiotics. She takes care of our kids. Our kids are like never sick, barely ever. They're going on 4 years now. And just, I've seen firsthand how all this stuff that she does works. And so I wanted to be able to share that with both of our viewers. So look, COVID happened. It feels to me, I'm not an authority on it or anything, but it feels to me like we are over the worst of it. It feels like the curve is flattening. It feels like, the next 30 to 60 days, we're going to have to like re-enter society, right? Like work, play, etc. I'm seeing a lot of people are already hanging out. And so what I thought would be really valuable, I mean, you're so versed in this space. How do we make people's immune systems, their defense mechanism, how do we make them superheroes? How do they have an armor, proactively? So whatever comes next, and there could be a second wave or whatnot, so they're prepared for whatever comes next. How do we arm ourselves to be prepared, to be in control, to have a great force field?
Yeah. So I think that it's really, so listen, this isn't the first virus, nor is it going to be the last virus that causes problems, right? And we've had viruses and bacteria around for a very long time. And I think at the base of it all is, what is your internal environment? What is your terrain, right? The healthier your body is internally, it doesn't matter whether it's COVID or strep or the cold virus or the flu virus. It doesn't matter what the name of it is. Germs, viruses, bacteria live in toxic environments, and they don't have anything to live off of in clean environments with robust immune systems. So taking it back to that internal environment and cleaning that internal terrain that's the priority. You're not going to do it through medications or, all these other things. You're going to do it by having a clean internal system.
Right. And we got some great comments. People are saying, we don't want to hear Eugene. We want to see Julie. Julie, you look great. Eugene, what are you doing here? Lots of love, people. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. But with all of you, I agree. By the way, guys, this is not meant to be a lecture of any kind. This is meant to be interactive. Please ask questions. Please leave comments. I'll make sure to get to everybody, especially on this topic. Like, I usually talk real estate or financials and all that stuff, and that can be boring. But this, I can't imagine a more important topic to be discussing right now. Beatrice, yes, I agree. It's the philosophy of our marriage.
It's also about, you talk a lot about personal development, but the thing about personal development, even with your triad, right? You can't have a good state if your body's unhealthy. Your physiology is part of the triad.
That's exactly right.
Physiology is really important. So this is part of personal development. Your health and internal environment absolutely is.
For sure. My number one goal, thank you. That's a really great distinction. My number one goal actually for this year wasn't business. It wasn't money. It was energy. How do I clean up my internal environment? Because I was really overweight. And through my journey of I've lost these 30 pounds. It's been 2 months. I feel great. My energy's high. I'm still going. A lot of that has to do with everything that you do for us. So look, okay, cool. So everybody's interested, obviously. How do we get ourselves, what can everybody do out there in order to meet this outcome of, protecting themselves and, having a really strong internal environment?
Yeah. And look, I mean, this is a complex topic that can go on forever. And for the sake of this, I'm going to keep it really simple with things that people can just kind of take in right away and move, So the first thing I really want to focus on is nutrient-dense foods. I think that's a big topic in general, but to simplify it, you want to put into your body nutrients. Taking a artificial supplement is not going to make you healthy. Getting a wide variety of nutrient-dense food is the way to get all of these supplements in without taking 5 million pills. But when they're in their whole form, I mean, what happens internally is really magical, right? And when I say nutrient dense, just to clarify, it means a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. And we're in the best season right now. Spring, it's I'm going nuts in the supermarket right now. I'm ooh. So believe me, there's so many topics. There's so many varieties of them. And green leafy vegetables, onions, garlic. I use those things as medicine. I actually use them to treat things. I use garlic to treat my strep. That is a medication. And at the same time, it's a nutrient dense, beautiful food that you want to incorporate. So it's one of the things I love to do. This is a great tip if you guys want to try it out. I often stick to the vegetables I know how to prepare. So what I started doing to get myself out of that comfort zone is I go and I buy those farm core boxes. You don't know what you're getting. You get for $25, you get a huge box of organic vegetables, but it's always a variety. And then I got to figure it out. So I think that's a really cool thing to do. That's going to boost up that, the eating of the variety of fruits and vegetables at home for you and your family. I love doing that. So try
Can
it
you
out.
speak? Can you speak a little
Yeah.
to? Can you speak because look, that's not like so profound, right? Like eat vegetables. We've heard that forever, but I think people really underestimate the importance of it,
Yeah.
or maybe they just don't know what's under the hood. They don't know why. So eat your vegetables,
Yeah.
great, but why? Can you speak a little bit to, maybe pick one or two vegetables, or just in general, speak to the like mechanics of
Yeah.
how increasing your vegetable fruit intake will, improve the internal mechanisms.
So like in the traditional medicine sense, right? Like they'll pick a vegetable that they like, kale, right? Kale is super healthy. Why is kale healthy? Oh, it has this component in it that makes you healthy. Let's extract it. Let's concentrate it. But kale doesn't have one component that's healthy. It doesn't just deliver vitamin K. There's, phytochemicals and like all these other, I mean, the list would go on and on and the food as a whole delivers multiple nutrients at the same time in one single food that gives your body a complete nutrition with, by the way, if you're looking to lose weight, with no calorie intake, right?
Yeah.
So you have a low caloric intake, a higher nutrient intake, right? You get your trace minerals, you get all your vitamins, you get, I mean, literally everything is complete in every fruit and vegetable that you eat, and your body just takes it in because, I mean, we as human beings are taking these nutrients in that way. Yeah. Anything that's going to be manufactured and just extracted one thing is not going to be taken up by the body in the same way. Vitamin A has been shown to be toxic as a supplement, but vitamin A in foods is never toxic.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right. That's great. And actually, that just for you guys, that helped for those that are into, on a journey of weight loss. That helped me a lot because I was working out twice a day. I was constantly hungry. But like, man, vegetables, you can eat a bucket, a gallon, whatever's big, like a crate of vegetables, and the caloric intake is so small, but you could just eat vegetables like all day long. We got some great questions coming in, so I want to deviate a little bit to get to some people's questions.
Sure.
Mindy asks, thoughts on sea moss and elderberry. Well, I know how you feel about elderberry.
What was the other one?
Sea moss?
Sea moss.
Sea moss? Did I say that correctly, Mindy? Sea moss? Seamoss.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with sea moss. Is that like
so why don't
algae?
you? I have no idea. So why don't you address elderberry?
Yeah.
And then Mindy, if you want to shoot me an email, so you know what? If you want to pause and address that as a bigger chunk later, that's cool.
I have a little thing on my elderberry.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beatrice asks, where do you get? Sorry, Mindy, if you want to email me, I can come back to you and connect you with Julie or whatever. I want to make sure everybody gets the information. Beatrice from Florida asks, where do you get that box from? I think she's referring to the vegetable box.
Oh, I actually get it through Fresh Direct. They offer, it's like Lancaster Farms in Pennsylvania. So maybe in your area, they'll source from another local farm, but they usually source from a local farm, and they get whatever is seasonal. That's why you never know what you're going to get.
Cool. And B, obviously, feel free to email Julie.
Yeah.
Greg says, nice office, Eugene. Thank you very much. It is very nice. This is... I've been saying I may never go back to my actual office again. What else we got? Jackie says nails on fleek, girl. I totally agree.
Eugene's aunt.
All right, cool. So let's keep going. Now, Irish sea moss. Okay, cool. So you guys can maybe connect offline. So what else? So vegetables, clearly important. We've all heard it. For everybody out there, like, just do it. Just do the vegetables over time. And if you're not really into vegetables, over time, like everything for me was about flour and sugar. I was totally addicted to flour and sugar. And this morning when I had breakfast, I made myself some tuna, some eggs. I'm like, oh God, something's missing. And all I craved was like cucumbers and tomatoes with a little bit of salt. And it's like, it's a different life. Like the cravings go away. The hunger goes away. Your energy's high. You don't crash after a meal. Beatrice says, how about ginger? How do you feel about it for immunity?
I love ginger.
Cool. Sorry, vegetables,
guys. I
guys.
add it all the time. Yeah, ginger is amazing. And it has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, anti-nausea properties. I use it for a wide variety of things. It's part of the staples that I have in my house, which I will definitely go over.
Cool. Yeah, so veggies are great. Yes. Veggies and fruits are great.
Yes.
What else? So what else can people do to harm themselves?
Yeah, so I talk about this a lot on my stories when I give like little whatever, hydration. And it's like, okay, drink water. I heard it before. I cannot stress the importance of hydration. If I had to give a percentage to how many patients I see through the emergency room whose probably underlying condition is chronic dehydration, I would give it 80%. People are dehydrated. Nice one. we don't we don't even understand how dehydrated you are. We don't feel thirsty. Actually, when you feel thirsty, you are so dehydrated at that point already, because the thirst kicks in when you're severely dehydrated. So what I usually suggest to people is you can go on Google or online and just type in like ideal water intake calculator, and it'll pull up a little calculator for you. You can put in how much you weigh and the activity level that you have, and then it'll calculate exactly how many liters you need per day to stay optimally hydrated. And that's so important, because without hydration, proper hydration, you're not going to have proper elimination. And you have to have proper elimination for the body to be clean, because otherwise everything's sitting in there and just the toxins are building up in all your organs. It needs to flow out. In and out. That's the way we function the best. So hydration is important on so many levels. For a general sense, it's about 2.5 liters for a woman and about 3.5 liters for a male. So that's the rough estimation, but you can totally just check out like the specifics.
3.5 liters. I feel like if I drank 3.5 liters of water, I would literally drown. I feel like I would literally drown.
You know, I gotta tell you, so I always experiment on everything myself. So I didn't, when I learned these principles, I was like, all right, I'm going to take 6 weeks of every day hitting the mark on what my ideal water intake was. And it was like 2.7 liters. I'm like, oh my God. The first 2 days, I was like, I live in the bathroom. Like I live in the bathroom. And then by like the 3rd, 4th day, it wasn't like that at all. Like all of a sudden, like your cells take it up. Your body just starts working different. I had the biggest shift. I mean, my energy levels were different. I was waking up differently. My skin was different. Like I was like, oh, all just from water intake. Like it's pretty unbelievable. So you think you're going to drown. And in the beginning, it feels that way, but give it 48 hours.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm total joking. I'm not quite up to 3.5 liters. I'm more around 2. But yeah, what a difference. And like, look, I mean, it's logical, right? What comes in must come out. And if you're filling up on the right stuff, there's not really that much room left for craving or doing the wrong stuff, because you're already full on the right stuff. So just by prioritizing water, cravings go down. Like you don't want to eat as much. You're not as hungry. Like all of a sudden you realize it's been like 4 hours. And you're like, whoa, I haven't even thought about food, just because you're satiated.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we eat just because we want to put something in our mouths. But if you're constantly swinging at the water, and as a tip, what really helped for me, actually, Sarah Katz, who's watching, got me this big jug, and it's a 2-liter jug. And basically it just gives you like 9 a.m., 11 a.m. there it is in my office. And so it keeps me on track. So if it's like, if it's 1 p.m. and I see I have a lot of water, I'm like, okay, cool. I just got to chug this right now to catch up. And it kind of keeps me on track. We have some more questions coming in. Yay, we love questions.
So 2 to 3 liters is about 11 cups,
Cool.
11 cups a day, just around. And look, remember, forget about weight loss or hunger, right? You want an internal clean environment, and you want your cells to function optimally. They need to be hydrated for immune system to activate. Right. A dehydrated immune system leads to a weakened immune system.
Right.
You're having toxins just sitting around and interrupting the proper flow of all the organs that are, taking in nutrients, letting out toxins. You have to have them alive, just like when you don't water your plants and they start to like wilt and look crazy, and then you water them and they get green and beautiful. That's what's happening inside your body.
On that note, I just want you all to know, this woman took a bunch of caterpillars and with the kids housed them in a thing, and all of a sudden one day I'm sitting in the office, I'm working, I'm like, what the hell is that? I turn around, there's these beautiful butterflies and this thing, and I let them go. This is a woman that has no limits.
We have to learn about metamorphosis.
That's right. Important. That's right. Well, you know how I feel about metamorphosis and change and all that good stuff. So actually, for everyone out there that's big into peak performance, so maybe like, oh, I don't care about this health bullshit or whatever. But you're an athlete, you work out, you whatever. When you drink water, it takes about 20 to 40 minutes for it to kick in, for the hydration to kick in. have like a glass or two of water 30 minutes before you work out and see if you don't perform a little bit better. I started doing that and I saw huge results. Babe, I want to get to I'm sorry, Mrs. Litvak, not babe on the show. You're Mrs. Litvak on the show.
That's right.
I want to get to some questions. Tatiana, hey Tatiana. She asks, what about a natural or herbal way to help with sleep? My daughter's having such a tough time sleeping during this time and I don't know how to help her.
Yes. I actually have that on my list of discussions. Great questions, guys. Yeah. So,
do you want to tackle it now or do you want to tackle it at the end as a chunk?
Yeah, you know what? We're actually up to my herbal medicine cabinet.
Okay.
And that's going to include some of those things.
Cool. Fire away, man.
So this is not a metaphor. I actually have a separate cabinet for all of my herbs.
It's not a cabinet. Do not lie. It's not a cabinet. It's a massive dresser. It's like 5 feet high. It's like 5 feet wide. It took up the whole area the bar used to be.
Whatever. Because I also make preparations for other people. So I need the space for like my huge, tea bags and whatever else. So we had a question about elderberry. So I'll just talk about that. So look, you're going into the next year. Let me just preface this. You're going into the next year, winter's going to come. I mean, summer, stay hydrated. You need more water than what I recommended if it's hot outside, FYI. But then you're going into a winter where now it's like cold and flu season and the runny noses and all this starts. And there's some staples that I have in my house. Look, personally, I really do not like to take medications. I don't like to give them to my kids. I'm glad that they're around in case of emergencies, but really, I really steer away. So I use herbal medicine a lot. Elderberry is something I start making at the end of August, and I stop making probably around April time, and I give my kids a little bit to drink. Elderberry is a beautiful berry that you kind of cook. I have a recipe on my page, by the way, so you guys can all check it out if you're interested on how to make your own.
If people want to follow you, babe, sorry, this is Litvak. Yeah. If people want to follow you, where do the Instagram, Facebook, what's your handle you want to share with everybody?
Instagram, Julie23DUB. And I have the recipe for my own elderberry syrup. The ones typically in the stores have a lot of additives and sugars, so I don't really like them. You can buy them. I'm sure you can find something cleaner, but I just make my own. They have tons of antiviral properties. So having the kids drink like a couple of, 1 or 2 teaspoons a day just kind of helps that antiviral properties live in their bodies. So when a virus comes in, their bodies they have something in there that just kind of breaks it apart before it starts to invade. So I love elderberry syrup. I think it's a great thing. Elder flowers, you can get elder flower as a tea and make it. It has tons of antibacterial, antiviral properties, anti-inflammatory properties. One of my obsessions to have in the house at all times is echinacea. Echinacea is a flower, and what it does is it literally makes your body think that there's a virus invasion. So you only take it when you start to feel sick. So like that little tickle in the throat or something like that starts coming up. Yes, elderberry is great for adults too, Rima. You start taking echinacea and your body's like, oh, something's here, right? Like we've been attacked. So your immune system literally goes to war. You start producing macrophages, T helper cells, T killer cells. It all kind of activates. And what ends up happening is whatever did come in, that little tickle that you're having, you have something. It basically kind of like annihilates it before it takes over. But after a few days, it doesn't work anymore. Your body recognizes that it's safe and stops making all those immune regulating functions. So you only want to take it for about 4 days-ish, like 4 to 6 days is the recommendation. And you keep it around for in case. Okay, so it's not something to take on a daily. Peppermint tea, I know you guys with kids, GI things are huge in kids, right? Like vomiting, diarrhea, like all these viruses that come in. A lot of times the kids can't drink, because the most important thing when they're going through that is to keep them hydrated. And a lot of times they can't keep anything down. So you always have peppermint tea in the house, because you make them take little tiny sips. The peppermint relaxes the esophagus. It relaxes the stomach. It eases the nausea. You can use ginger as well for the nausea part. And then after they take a few sips, this just happened with Rose several months ago. She took a couple of sips of the peppermint, the vomiting eased, and then she was able to take down water and other things to hydrate herself and get her through it. And then the last few things that I would say to always have around is red raspberry leaf tea and yarrow tea. Both of those teas, and you know, I can post a little bit of, I think I posted some stuff on it, but I can go over it. Both of those are great in terms of fevers. So what they'll do is I typically do not give Tylenol or Motrin to my kids when their fevers are like low grade. And what this will help them do, besides for keeping hydrated, drinking plenty of these teas, it lets them sweat. So you want to have a fever that allows for sweating, because then that's a wet fever, and that's not a dangerous fever, that's a curative fever. Fever tells your body that there's an invasion. It signals for an immune response. Without a fever, you have a weakened immune response. So killing a fever very early on actually weakens the body's ability to respond to the invasion. So that's kind of like the overall, and this applies to COVID or any other virus. Taking echinacea, elderberry, raspberry leaves, all of that stuff, and you know, having a wet fever, so to speak, these are all tools for you to use for yourself, for your kids, that are safe, and I found to be extremely effective. And then, yeah, sorry.
Fire hydrant. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, I may be many things, but I am not a liar. I told you this woman was a wealth of knowledge. If I don't cut her off, she's going to go for another 16 hours. Okay, babe, I'm sorry, Mrs. Litvak, not babe, Mrs. Litvak. First of all, selfish question. Tell them all where to follow you again.
Oh, Julie 23DUB.
Why the 23?
Jordan.
If you watch The Last Dance, oh my God, if you don't, you should. Okay, I'm just.
I cry every day.
Two questions that came in. Yeah. One from Tatiana. Let me read you both questions right away. How do we know if we have proper elimination? What's the indication of healthy? And Levi from Florida asks, does White Claw count? Levi, I'm going to answer that one. Yes. No, I'm just joking. That's a beer, babe. No, sorry, that's a beer, Mrs. Litvak. No, Levi, man, have some water. Stop drinking, alcoholic. Let's go to Tatiana's question. How do you know? What's an indicator if you are eliminating properly?
So the quality of your stools matters, and also the amount of time. So typically, if you're eating 3 times a day, you should be eliminating about that. So if you're not going every day, that's poor elimination. If you notice that you don't really sweat when it's very hot or in a sauna, that's a sign that your elimination pathways aren't open. And usually when your elimination pathways aren't open, because the elimination pathways are lungs, bowels, kidneys, and skin, right? So urination, defecation, sweating, and then you also breathe out, you eliminate through breath. And there's things that you can do. There's protocols that I use for different people with different elimination pathway issues.
Very cool.
So that's the short answer.
There's oh yeah, we got more questions. Hold on. Julie, what are your thoughts on mucusless eating? Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Mucusless diet is actually my core principles that I follow as an herbalist. Yes, if you're going to have a diet with high mucus forming foods, your elimination pathways will get congested, and then you're going to have that internal environment that I was talking about that is that's really it's really going to cause some issues. So yes, I love the mucusless diet. It's very hard. It's not very hard to follow, but you know, it's a change because you eliminate all dairy products and meat products. But I think that if it works for your lifestyle, I totally support it.
Cool. And we have one more question.
Sure.
From Jesse, green juice. Oh God, here we go with the green juices. Fire away, Mrs. Litvak. My kids are obsessed with green juice.
Yeah, listen, I love freshly squeezed juices of any kind because they retain a lot of those minerals and vitamin properties of the fruit. The problem with supplementing just that and then not actually eating whole vegetables on the side is that you're going to miss the fiber content. And there's also things that happen when you chew that don't happen when you drink a green juice. So I think they're wonderful to add on to a nutrient-rich diet. I kept it
Cool.
short.
There you go. Deborah Knoll from Boston says red raspberry leaf was a lifesaver for me. Debbie's a very close friend of our family and a marketing genius. Cultivate Plus, shameless plug. If you have marketing needs, Deborah Knoll, Cultivate Plus. Julie Litvak, you are wonderful and amazing. And she was just doing alphabet before I left the house with the kids. And Sam can now write out his alphabet. It's really cute. This has been completely invaluable. Does anybody have any? I want to give Julie the ability to share some final tips, but we're gonna go for a couple minutes, guys. If you have any questions, now's the time. If you wanna reach out to Julie directly, Julie23 DUV on Instagram. If you want our contact info, reach out to me. You all know how to find me, and I'll put you in touch.
Yeah.
Please use her. She loves it, just like me. She loves helping people. Nothing moves her more than this. And so it's our pleasure to help everybody. So Mrs. Litvak, not Babe, any final tips for both of our viewers out there?
Yeah, I'm going to end on, and I think it'll answer Tatiana's question on the last two things that I think are super important for a healthy body immune system. And that's my two S's. And that would be sun and sleep. So we need our vitamin D. Sure, we can take it as a supplement. I get that we actually need to supplement with it because I live in New York, so the sun is not as readily available at all times. But going outside, spending time in the sun, I also recommend the next time you get into a park to take off your shoes and go ground. So just put your feet in the grass. There's an amazing energy exchange that happens with you and the earth. And that will actually lead into the other S, which is sleep. For sleep, I recommend that, you can't be healthy without sleep. As an herbalist, we never give medications during sleep time because sleep is its own medicine, right? So we never wake anybody to give them tea or any other thing. I think that if you have a really abnormal sleep cycle, it's going to affect your body and immune system. And right now with the quarantine and people on their computers all the time, that blue light coming in, it's messing with your cortisol levels, right? Because blue light stimulates wake cycles. So if you don't have a pair of blue light blocking glasses, I absolutely recommend that. You can take natural supplements like melatonin just to get you back into the rhythm. And as a natural, as an herbal supplement, also valerian root tea. Traditional Medicinals is a tea brand that I often use, and they have a sleepy time tea that has chamomile, lavender, and valerian root in it if you need a little extra to get you through a nice, quiet, restful sleep. And I'll end on that. Go hug a tree and then sleep.
Yeah, I can't speak to this enough. I share this in a private setting at one of our, Litvak team events, but I went through about 18 months where I was totally insomniac. I couldn't sleep at all. And I'm really quick. I'm really solutions driven. I'm high energy. I'm this firecracker. And without sleep, I was a zombie. I was irritable. I just wasn't myself. And all the things that Julie talked about are all the things we did. We did the valerian root. We did a lot of these things. Meditation's great too. There's a bunch on YouTube, like sleep meditation, but to this day, going on over a year now, Dauxi on YouTube, there's happiness, there's gratitude, there's a million of them. I just plug my ear pods in.
Yes.
I go to sleep, I'm knocked out in 60 seconds. And when I wake up, I see that it went on for 2 hours. So I'm downloading into my subconscious all these positive vibes. And now when I wake up in the morning, people talk about I'm not a morning person. There's no such thing as morning person or not morning person. I went to bed on time and I have a morning routine and therefore I'm up and alive. Or I go to sleep late, I don't have a morning routine, and then I'm groggy and messed up all day. So can't speak to this enough.
Huge in health. For health, meditation is huge. I can spend an entire day talking about all the ways meditation affects your mind and body, which is not separate. It's one thing. Mind, body is one thing. And how meditation incorporates in that, everybody would be sleeping by now if I talk about it. But it's super important. And actually, I really love, no affiliation, I just love him, Master Co. If you check him out, he has a bunch of free meditations, which also in his meditation, he talks about gratitude and love. And those are all high frequency emotions that absolutely affect your body and your health and the way you, and your immune system, because that's, the high vibrations affect all parts of the body and mind.
Yeah, we talked about in the show previously, during COVID or even outside of COVID, take your meds, right? Meditation, exercise, diet, sleep. And Master Co, I couldn't meditate, didn't believe in meditation. And then we were fortunate enough to meet Master Co at a Tony Robbins event. He's become a close personal friend of our family. He worked with me a lot when I couldn't sleep.
Oh, amazing.
And he is awesome. He's very accessible online. There's lots of free stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's great. Mrs. Litvak, thank you so very much.
Thank you, everybody. I love all the beautiful comments. It's so sweet. I'm glad I was able to help, and it was, you know, useful information. That's all I want.
Follow her, Julie23 at DUB on Instagram. Get in touch with either of us to connect with her. Thank you very much. Be well, be safe, prepare. We're about to come back out to society. Prepare, get ready. Get ready.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.